So this is something I've been working on. I said in a previous video what this building was. This used to be a finishing floor for top hogs. And what I've done with it, this building, it come on out to right in here. You can see right here at the edge of the concrete, it come on out another 8 feet. These buildings, as far as hogs use, ain't been used now in probably, I think they quit in 94 or 5. So they hadn't been used, and they wasn't good for nothing else at the time, and they just kind of got run down. So this section of this building, all the tin had come off, and all the wood and stuff was rotten, so I just tore that off. And it's worked out okay, because now my troughs, they're sitting on solid concrete, and keep them from sinking up. And then when I'm feeding and stuff right here, I've got this concrete pad and things. And what I've done is I've put a gutter up right here, and I'm collecting the rainwater. I put in a 1,500 gallon, this is actually a septic tank, but I had the local place plumb it in for what I needed. But anyway, I'm catching the rainwater, it's going into this tank, and like I said, it's 1,500 gallons. And what I have done is I have gotten a, they call it a shallow well pump from Harbor Freight, which is down in this hole. This, what I'm using as a manhole, was a old fuel oil tank that we had, and I've cut and I've stuck down in there. And I've got this, a shallow well pump that I've got plumbed into the bottom of this tank, and it's what's powering my watering trough. And I've got a water spigot over here also. And this is about, this tank is about 5 foot in the ground, and I believe that the way I've got this down in here, I don't think I'll ever have any problems with it freezing. All our water lines, if you can see right there and right there, we run in 4-inch corrugated drain line, just a flexible drain line. And we do that for 2 reasons. One, it kind of helps as an insulator on the freezing part. 2, it helps keep rocks and things off of the line, and makes the lines last a lot longer. And Dad started doing this probably 35 years ago, and we've yet to dig one up because of a malfunction like that. But our thought process is, if it ever do, all we'd have to do would be tie a new line onto the old line and drag a new line through with the old line, and not have to dig nothing up, just except on one side or the other. We usually try to use, now we try to use concrete risers, or 2-foot risers. We put all our valves and stuff in, so really there shouldn't be a whole lot of digging, if any. What I've done right there is some of that drain. I put a spigot in over there, and I fixed this watering trough here. And how I have done this is just a, I think it was a Country Line, 100-gallon watering trough. I've set this here. I got some of this angle iron. It's galvanized, that I had actually got off of the cell tower. We have a cell tower on this place, and they changed some of the angle iron, and we was able to get some. And this is good stuff here. But anyway, I concrete that stuff in the ground, and I've plumbed it up, and I've got a valve down in there. It's on the ball, and I don't know if you can see it or not, but I've got a water heater down in there, and I've got these panels up to where they can't get out. And then I've also down in there, I don't know if you can see it or not, but I took a piece of hog panel and cut and put in there on these pipes right here. It goes down to keep them from touching any of this stuff. And what I done here is I put in a 12-inch culvert that is about, I think it was about 6 feet that I buried in the ground. And down here a little lower, you can see right there where I've got the other end of that corrugated pipe coming into here. And I've run this extension cord from my power source at the pump over here to run the heater that's in this trough. But anyway, I just brought it up, plumbed it in here, and run it around, and plumbed it in on this float. And then I built this box around this, and I put quite a bit of rock and stuff around here to try to help insulate as well. I don't think that I'll have any trouble here either. And if I do, all I need to do is just put just a 100-watt, regular 100-watt light bulb in here, and that'll be plenty enough heat to keep this from freezing. But I think between the ground heat out of this pipe, the way I have this set up, and most of the trough I've got covered with rock also. There's about a 6-inch concrete lip right there that this trough is sitting down below, and I put all that around there. So I'm thinking between the heat off of the water, and you know, I know it's not going to get hot, but it'll keep it from freezing. So I think between what radiates off of the water and what radiates out of this pipe, plus back to what I was saying on that corrugated, you know, there's going to be a certain amount of heat that comes from where the pump is, and like I said, it's right there, it's not far. It's going to come through here as well. So I don't think I will have any trouble with that. Anyway, that's how I've got this set up. And I took chain and I wrapped around, I drilled me a hole and I put me a bolt in there and I run this chain around down to each side on this angle iron, and I wrapped it all the way around. I've done this on the front side too, on the calf side as well, so it looks just like that on the other side, to keep them from moving it around. And I put turnbuckles in right here on each side to keep them from shifting it and moving it around. Like I said, this was originally set up for hogs. The wood down through here was already there. It went all the way up to the roof, and this was all pinned off for hogs. You can see there's still concrete dividers down through here, and I've left that. These posts are in concrete for hog panels down through there for the dividers. I still got to get them cut off, but I can do that later. It's no big deal now. But anyway, back to the wood. Tore the top half off to where you can see down through there, and I left the bottom half mainly because of extra support. This building, these posts were oak. This was built in the late 70s. All these hog buildings was built around there. And these were just oak posts that they had concreted in the ground and poured concrete around. And what's happened is the post has rotted off down in the concrete. So what I done is, and I don't know if you can see any of them or not, but what I done, I had to change this post. This post was bad, but this to give you an idea. I took some of this angle iron that I had, and I drilled it and put through the post, bolted it, and then I put concrete anchors down into the concrete. So what was above the concrete, the post was still good. So that's still solid. So I drilled through that and anchored everything down, and I done all these posts that way. So I don't think I will have any trouble there. This is still a work in progress, but like I said, this lot was originally for hogs, and it was all sloped, and the hog manure would come down and into this little wooden stack pad. I need to do a little bit of work on that before I scrape this lot for the first time. And the way it was for hogs, this pond at the time was actually kind of like a lagoon. The water runoff and manure runoff and stuff would go into that pond, but like I said, there's not been hogs here since '94. That pond, we've used it now for several years for cattle water and things. But what I done, the back side here, I dammed that up from some of the dirt that I had left over from putting this tank in and from building the silo. I dammed that up to where the pond water wouldn't get over here, and I dug another hole that I'm going to use for what water does run off will go in that instead of contaminating the pond. Like I said, this is still all work in progress. This building over here, Dad built not long after he bought the place for a slaughterhouse. So what I'm doing is I'm changing this around to put my head chute in. This building is, I think it's 24 feet long. It's about 12 feet high, and I think it's 12 feet wide. Originally, this doorway right here, there was originally a window. It was about a 3x3 window, give or take. And what I done is I took, and the window was already gone, and I cut this block all the way down to the floor. Now I did have a mess up right here, but I will get some Quikrete and I will fix that back. And my plan is I'm going to run them in the back door, run them through the chute. They'll go out, and we can either send them outside or we can put them back in the lot. What I am going to do is with this block, is I've got a whole bunch of that angle iron I was talking about, is I am going to cap this wall with that angle on each side and anchor it to the floor and make a solid doorway, because I'm afraid that, you know how cattle are, if you've ever fooled with them, they're rough and tough, and I'm afraid they'll hit this wall and get things started breaking. So I'm going to anchor this to the floor, make an actual steel frame around this, and I'm going to do this here and in the back. And I think when I get everything done, this will be a pretty neat little setup. This other building here, I said in a previous video, that building right there, that one was originally the farrowing house for the sow pigs to have their litter. And what I'm going to do with that is I'm already using the office part as my tool storage for down here. But my intentions is this building has a pit under it for the hog manure. And from where that door is down is 5 feet to the bottom of the pit, and it's all concrete. So what I've done here is I've dug this out looking for the foundation and seeing how things are going to be. But what my intentions are, take the end of this building out all the way down to the bottom of the pit and open all this up. This right here where we're standing is upgrade. From there at the feedlot now to the old barn to here, I'm going to take all this and push and slope this down. There's a big hump right here in front of this barn. I'm going to push and slope all this down to where I can get into this building. And by sloping everything around here, I don't think there's going to be much of a slope getting in there right now. From that door to right in here, I've done put a level on it. It is right at about 3 foot lower right here. So I think by taking some more of this down, I don't think there's going to be much of a grade to get into that building. But anyway, I'm going to try to use that for a shop. And if I can, I'll have about a 16, 18 foot wide door. And then it'll be about 13 foot worth of height from the bottom of the pit to the ceiling in there now. This little building here was the nursery. And it has pits in it too. We're taking all that stuff out, and I'm going to do it the same way, except back there I can go down to the bottom of the pits. Right here I can't. So my plan is I'm going to open that up as well, make a bigger doorway to where I can get stuff in there, and I'm going to fill these pits. So all this old concrete that's laying around here and things, I'm going to take all that and put in this pit, and it's going to fill probably, because I've got a lot more than that, it's going to fill probably half anyway. And then I'll top the rest of it off with some dirt and then put some gravel on top. I think I can get about 10 foot of height, and I can put these smaller tractors and row baler and things like that in there. But anyway, give you a little intel on what I've been doing and my plans that I've got in my head to do. It's all work in progress. But anyway, I've got a load of hay loaded up here. I loaded this yesterday evening. I'm going to take it down to the hay sale. I took a load yesterday and was going to take this one, but it got late on me and I still had to feed, so I loaded this up and it's ready to go. So I've let my truck warm up and get my air all built up, so it ought to be good. So I'm going to take this down to Crab Orchard, get this unloaded, and I'll catch you later.